Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to the stream. I'm glad that you guys are here, and today we're going to be talking about the AEW show. Oh, wrestling. We're going to be talking about wrestling tonight, and today we're going to be talking about specifically AEW. I just really enjoy that company, and I think that they, bring a lot of really good talent that we have not seen ever, and I actually prefer it a lot over the bigger company, I guess, which is WWE. So yeah, I actually wrote some notes here, so I'm not just going off the wing and doing it blindly. So hopefully you guys actually enjoy this. My day's been great, so I hope that this will entertain you guys, even if it's just for a little bit. So let's get right into it. So opening match is Top Flight versus the Young Bucks, and I've actually never seen Top Flight before. I know they had a match in AEW Dark, but I have never actually seen them wrestle. I don't have a lot of time to watch AEW Dark, so yeah, I haven't seen them there. So their real name, or their in-ring names, are Darius and Dante Martin, and they did a little like promo package of Top Flight, and they just kind of like showed footage of like where they came from the indie scene, and apparently they got a chance because they submitted, I guess, like a highlight reel of like stuff that they were doing, and so yeah, and then they tweeted at the Young Bucks, and they actually got the opportunity to try out for AEW because of the footage that was shown to them. So let's see. So the match started out pretty high fly intensity, but what was really interesting to see is that Top Flight had a lot of what the Young Bucks were doing already kind of like scouted out, sort of like they watched them, and they did say in the promo package that Top Flight actually watched a lot of Young Bucks match, which I appreciate the hey, we're a new tag team, so we have to like really prepare for like this like very like big tag team and adjust to like their style of wrestling, which is interesting. So yeah, Top Flight had a lot of their like early moves scouted out, so there was a lot of like countering and stuff like that, and so it was yeah, it was quite interesting to see the Top Flight being able to scout out the Young Bucks. Some stuff that I noticed is that Top Flight has very good like actual chemistry. I believe that they are actual like brothers. It's not just, I guess, kind of like kayfabe brothers. So yeah, it seems like their in-ring styles are exactly the same, which is great because sometimes we get a lot of like tag teams that are kind of either like put together and then like their chemistry doesn't work out. But in this case, it was totally good, and I can see why they put him in AEW right away, on Dynamite right away, because their style of wrestling is very much like the Young Bucks, so they were able to go back and forth without actually losing any sort of like in-ring chemistry, which was very appreciated. Yeah, so the Young Bucks obviously gain control of the match back after a surprise super kick, and actually, that's what leads me to talk about Top Flight, because one of the problems that I did see with Top Flight is that they make a lot of mistakes, like not checking the other opponents when they're near the opposite side of the ring. So in the case where the Young Bucks gained the advantage back, it was because they were doing a wrestling maneuver near the corner where Nick was at, and Nick was able to actually tag Matt and do like a surprise super kick. So that was probably the only downside of Top Flight, but I don't think it was like in like an IRL like downside. It's more like it's kind of like a kayfabe sort of downside. Like they're rookies, they don't understand that the Young Bucks can use being close to each other to like tag out. So I just thought that was interesting. Let's see. High spot for the match. Okay, so there was a point where Matt had one of the guys from Top Flight like in a waist lock, and then I don't know if it's Dante or Darius, but one of the brothers kind of like suplexes the other one, but the other guy jumps, so he jumps like over Matt and one of the brothers, and then he's able to get he's able to get Matt in a waist lock, and then get Matt to release the lock on his brother. So I thought that was pretty cool. The way I explained it is not very clear, but if you watch the highlight on the AEW YouTube channel or something like that, you'll see that that it was a pretty good maneuver. I'd never seen that before. The low spot is so right after that move where he like suplexes his brother like over, one of the brothers goes for like, I guess, like a front flip into like a Hurricane Rana, which, you know, I thought was a tad bit excessive, because he could have probably achieved the same thing just like running, I guess, up the rope and then doing a Hurricane Rana, but no, he had to do the flip Hurricane Rana into the Hurricane Rana, which was a little weird, because you could visibly see like Mac crouching down and then trying to get it to connect. It just looked really awkward. I thought it was a bad spot, but you know, you can't really expect perfection from such a rookie team. So yeah, maybe in the future try not to, if you think that it's sloppy or you're lacking the ability to do it, I would say just don't do it. It just looks bad. I would say that that's probably one of the only downsides of AEW, is that they try to get like, I guess, like the pop from the audience or like an audience reaction so much that they're willing to risk the integrity of a match to get like that high spot that's gonna get them like that Twitter like a million views or whatever. And I just think it's a little excessive. You know, credit where credit is due, when AEW does manage to hit a high spot that goes, I guess, like viral, it is very good. So yeah, just especially with this like newer types of team, I wouldn't suggest doing that. So end of the match. Oh, I didn't go over that. So yeah, Young Bucks regain control of the match and then finished off by hitting a BT trigger at the end of it. And yeah, that was pretty easy. 1, 2, 3. Yes. Just to like kind of like judge the Young Bucks a little bit, especially Matt, because he's still selling that ankle injury. Except the weird thing is that he seems to be able to do all like these high flying maneuvers. And I'm not saying like it's bad that he's doing high flying maneuvers, but what I'm saying is that it's bad that he's doing all these high flying maneuvers so smoothly, especially when he's still selling that ankle injury. You would think that he would be a bit hindered down, and that would give Top Flight an opportunity to like shine, because they get outfly him for, even if it's just a little bit. So I just found it weird that that Matt was kind of no selling his injury, but hey, I guess I can't really blame him for doing that. So yeah, okay. So after the match, not interference, but TH2 attacks Top Flight, and yeah, I guess this is gonna be some sort of rivalry on Dark, because I think Top Flight beat TH2 in Dark. So hopefully they do that rivalry either over there, or, I mean, yeah, I'd like to see Top Flight again on Dynamite, so hopefully we get to see them on there. All right, so then after that, they showed the little vignette of the inner circle in Las Vegas. And how to explain this? So obviously they did pretty much everything that you would do in Las Vegas, and they were kind of like showing off the tension between like Sammy and MJF when they were playing blackjack, and then like just tension between people in the inner circle and the people from MJF's camp, which is also Wardlow. So yeah, Hager and Wardlow still kind of like staring, I guess, like daggers at each other, and just like generally not getting along was kind of like the first part of the part in Vegas. They also showed like Jericho and MJF trying to, I guess, like out drink each other, sort of. Not in the sense where like they were actually out drinking each other, but in the sense of you know, they were ordering like stronger drinks every time, almost to the point where it was like they were ordering like just straight up like alcohol. So I thought it was that was pretty cool. So then after we get a John Moxley promo, and I believe this was after commercials. So yeah, so Moxley talks about his dad's abuse, and how after he got arrested, his dad told him that he's a good guy and to never change that aspect of himself, and to stay like being the good guy. He talks about his accomplishments in New Japan and AEW. He didn't explicitly say New Japan, like a lot of other wrestlers have been doing recently. But yeah, he basically said he was defending 2 championships in 2 different continents. Which, yeah, he's talking about not the AEW. Well, yes, he's talking about the AEW championship, but he's also talking about the NJPW US Heavyweight Championship, which he has to defend, I believe, soon. I think he has a match with Kenta. I don't keep up with NJPW that much anymore, but I wish I did. I wish I had the time for that, but no. So, and then he talks about the press conference that him and Omega are having, and that he'll look into Omega's eyes and let him know that he is the best in the world. So, interesting promo, because while I was watching this, I was thinking, why are we getting a promo before the encounter at the press conference? And so I was very weirded out. I was thinking, what? this is very unusual. Usually they just save like this sort of main event stuff for one segment. So, but later on when we get to the part, it's going to be explained why there was a promo in the beginning. So, okay, Kip Sabian versus Orange Cassidy. Miro was on commentary. I don't know that I like Miro on commentary. He's just kind of like weird, kind of awkward. It's like that bias where like you can tell he's really trying hard to be not like super biased, but you could tell he's biased. And so yeah, that was weird for me hearing it, especially when he kind of like drowns out other commentators. It feels like he's bringing down the overall like audio quality. Not that I'm the best at commentating. I mean, I'm stuttering and stuff like that, but you know, it's whatever. So yeah, so Orange goes for a lazy face slap at the beginning of the match, and the crowd pops, and then he goes in for like the hands in the pocket like taunt, and then Kip Sabian stops him, and a lot of the match was just going back and forth, trying to like, I guess, stop Orange Cassidy from putting his hands in his pocket, which you know, completely out of context if you don't watch wrestling, it would sound like you're not talking about wrestling. But yes, comedy stuff like this does happen in wrestling. So yeah, a lot of the match was just that, and then before they go to commercial break or picture in picture, Orange Cassidy manages to get his hands in his pocket. So, and then picture in picture, I don't really watch picture in picture. Trying to stare at the little tiny screen it's just not. I can't pay too much attention. Okay, they end the match, and obviously Orange Cassidy wins. I don't, especially after his time limit draw with Cody a couple weeks ago. I don't think that they're gonna like bury him or anything like that. I just think that's ridiculous. To have him lose to Kip Sabian would be a terrible choice. So yeah, so he good. I would say it was a pretty good match. There was nothing too much to complain about. If I'm gonna complain about something, it's probably when Kip Sabian tried to jump on the second rope and then try to go to the rope that was perpendicular to him, and try to jump off of that rope, but you know, he kind of botched it, and he like tripped on himself while trying to get to the other rope, and yeah. So, but yeah, I'm not gonna nitpick too much about that. The high spot. It was actually near the end of the match. There was a lot of like going back and forth with like submissions and pinfalls and attacks. Like they were missing each other, and then towards the end of the match, Orange Cassidy finds a way to put Kip Sabian in a mousetrap. 1, 2, 3, and then after the match, Miro goes and attacks Orange Cassidy. Best friends come out and save him. I would say that not much changed here regarding this rivalry. It's kind of like in the same spot it was before, so yeah, it's just a little weird. So I don't know. I'm not sure where they're going with this. Is there supposed to be a payout? I'm enjoying the rivalry, but it just seems like they're doing it for the sake of doing it and not to actually like further any characters. Maybe I'll be proved wrong. I said this when, well, I didn't say it publicly, but I kind of had mentioned it when I was talking about Best Friends versus Santana or Ortiz, that it seemed like they were going nowhere with that, but that actually probably turned out to be one of the better matches of the year. So hopefully they can give us something similar to that or in the vein of what's going on there. And yeah, hopefully that turns out well. Yeah, so that's it as far as Orange and Kip Sabian. Okay, Jon Moxley and Kenny Omega contract signing. So Kenny's been doing this new his new gimmick is like the cleaner, kinda like the cleaner, except he has this like weird, like very colorful introduction, very like Miami sort of style, which is weird because the cleaner was kinda not like that at all. He was more kind of like dark, like he depended on like the Bullet Club to get wins and stuff like that, which makes the cleaner kinda different in a sense. So I guess this version is different from the NJPW version. Not that I want a carbon copy of the cleaner, that's not it at all. I just think that it's a little out of character, and I wish that Kenny reinvented himself instead of trying to like get like, I guess not the heat, but the pop from the crowd from what he did before in NJPW like now, which is why it's just, to me, it's weird. Yeah, okay, so Tony Schiavone introduces him as the cleaner. The ladies come out and then they do the sweeping thing, the dancing thing. I think it's kind of unnecessary, but it's there. Can't do anything about it. Omega comes out in a suit, much like his NJPW conference days. Exactly like I was saying, like it seems like he's copying a lot of segments of his time in NJPW, which, I'm totally fine. That's just who Omega is. So then Tony Schiavone introduces Moxley, and then actually Moxley, the music just keeps going. Moxley doesn't come out, and it turns out that someone attacked Jon Moxley, which is kind of surprising, but kind of not at the same time, especially with what's going on, I guess, with the Hangman Page. I suspect it's Hangman. So yeah, so Moxley is knocked out in the back. He's got a bloody nose, so somebody attacked him. And Kenny Omega, Tony Schiavone suspects it may be Kenny Omega. He tries asking him, like, "Oh, was this you?" And then he says, "No, I'm not like really up for like those psychological games. I just want to have my match." And then he gets up and he says, "Well, just give me the contract and let me sign it." And specifically he says, "There's no excuses come December 7th." And that's actually, I think that's all he said. Tony Schiavone asks him, "Is there anything else?" And he says, "No, that's it." And then he heads over to the back. So yeah, my initial assumption is that Hangman Adam Page might have done this. I think that he's going to come out and try to, I guess, kind of like screw over Kenny Omega. So I guess we'll see if that happens or not. Okay, Inner Circle, Las Vegas Part 2. They're drunk out of their mind. They have the Elvis impersonator, and then I think they're like on the roof, and then MJF starts, I guess, talking about like how they're really close, and they're like that at first he wanted to be a lone wolf, but now he's trying to be like this like, I guess, not leader, but part of like the inner circle. And so it's just really cool seeing like MJF trying to blend in. At some point there was talk between hold up, that was in the previous second, I'm sorry about that. Yeah, and then I guess like after that like part where they got like really drunk, they woke up, and man, the hotel was a mess. Like MJ was just kind of like walking around not knowing like what's going on. Sorry, Chris Jericho's walking around not knowing what's going on. And then you could see MJF talking to Sammy Guevara, and then like after this whole like being drunk, like they're still kind of like not cool towards each other. But yeah, I think I heard someone say that this is some sort of like movie reference, and I think it was Hangover was the name of the movie. I'm not sure. I don't watch too many like comedy movies where people get wasted and stuff like that, so I don't know. But this segment was definitely funny. The last part of it was Hornswoggle, I guess, but you know, I didn't mind it too much because again, they were in Vegas. What could they do about that? The next match was actually pretty interesting. I'm glad to see that Pac has returned, and we got that segment from last week replayed where Penta and Ray Phoenix, after their match, you know, Eddie kind of just like tossed him out, saying that he wasn't worthy of being in the Familia or whatever. And then yeah, and then they show Pac again coming back. So then Eddie Kingston shows up on commentary, and then yeah, and then Pac and Blade have their match. They're kind of going back and forth, and then Butcher and Bunny interfere in the match. And I would say it was just kind of like a run-of-the-mill match. Pac was, again, booked very strongly. He did a shooting star press into the brutalizer. And then post-match, Butcher attacks as Pac is trying to, like, I guess, talk into the mic. Ray Phoenix comes to Pac's aid and then gets beaten. And then Pentagon comes out with a steel chair, and it seems like he's on the side of the Familia. And then he ends up actually scaring off Eddie Kingston. And then they all kind of like flee. And then I guess Death Triangle's reformed, or how it is in Spanish, Triángulo de la Muerte. So yeah, we got them back. And it seems like we're actually getting a lot of like trios going on here, because we have FTR and Sean Spears. That might be a possible trio, because you know Tully and him are kind of like Tully is managing not only FTR but also Sean Spears. And then we have the Elite, which is Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks, and then we have Death Triangle, and we have the Familia, which is Butcher and Blade and Eddie Kingston. So it seems like they're kind of sort of building a division around that. And then we also got I guess like a new trio at the end of the segment, at the end of the show. So we'll go through that. Okay, then we get a backstage brawl again, which I think they need to kind of like limit these backstage brawls, because once you do a backstage brawl like one show, I think that should be kind of like the limit. You don't want to do it like every show, and you also don't want to do it like twice or more than 2 times in a show, because it just kind of takes away the special, like I guess kind of like raw feeling, like it's happening out of nowhere. So we had 2 of those backstage brawl segments, one with Omega and then one here with it's that lady that represents Shaq. I can't quite remember her name, but yeah, she attacked Brandy Rhodes, and then Nyla Rose and Vicky Guerrero were actually kind of like preventing the referees from like separating them. So yeah, so that was the backstage attack. After that, we got the NWA Women's Championship match, and that was Thunder Rosa and Serena Deeb. Commentary talks about Serena Deeb's AEW record, and her AEW record actually seemed pretty rushed because the first time we saw Serena Deeb, she had a 0-1 record, and I believe it was because on Dark it was Serena Deeb versus Hikaru Shida, and Hikaru Shida ended up beating Serena Deeb. So it looked a little awkward when Serena Deeb actually had a 0-1 record the first time she was on Dynamite, which she ended up winning her match there, making it 1-1. But I guess over the last couple weeks, they've actually put her in 3 matches, giving her that 4-1 record. So yeah, this match was actually very much mat wrestling. Early on, it's a lot of like lockups and like reversals and stuff like that. When the commercial's back. Oh wait, before the commercial, yeah, a lot of mat style wrestling, and you know, I think that's a good thing. During the match, we actually got interference from Britt Baker and Reba. There you go. So Britt Baker and Reba interfere. Referee was distracted for a really long time, which I found to be kind of weird, but you know, it is what it is. Yeah. So then, what I found even weirder, and you know, it just kind of harkens back to like how Thunder Rosa kind of works, is that she doesn't like looking weak, and I understand because you kind of want Thunder Rosa looking strong because she's probably actually one of the only legitimate women in that division. But yeah, actually she kicks out from the attack given by Dr. Britt Baker. So it was definitely weird seeing her kick out, especially after Serena Deeb had, I don't know what her finishing move is, but I assume that her finishing move was because of what was done after Dr. Britt Baker attacked her. So then she kicks out, and then a couple of minutes pass by, and they're just kind of like going back and forth again, and then Serena Deeb wins via a modified kind of like pile driver. So yeah, so then I guess Britt Baker stayed out even after she interfered during that match. So Thunder Rosa attacks Britt Baker post-match. Refs come and separates them. Obviously, you don't want to give out too much of this match. It seems like the feud between Thunder Rosa and Dr. Britt Baker is I think it's going to be a good one. They seem to have a lot of like chemistry right off the bat, even during these brawls. So I expect a pretty good match. The fact that they're putting her in a feud, they're putting Thunder Rosa in a feud with Britt Baker. Maybe it's a sign that she's actually come to a contract negotiation with AEW. I think Serena Deeb just signed with AEW, while NWA is. Do they have live shows? I'm not sure. But yeah, Thunder Rosa and Serena Deeb might have just signed with AEW. And then the last match for the night was Ricky Starks and Brian Cage versus Cody Rhodes. I thought it was pretty run-of-the-mill. It's just a regular tag team match. Usually when you put 2 singles wrestlers and a tag team together, they usually tend to stay like very like safe with what moves that they're doing and how they do it in the ring. Obviously, you don't want getting Cody injured because he's one of like the main guys. He puts over a lot of smaller talent, so you obviously don't want to take too many risks with him. Darby Allin just good as always, so can't really complain about that. Yeah, again, both teams they looked good here. A lot of strikes. Usually a lot of stuff that they usually do. Post match, Starks and Cage attack Darby and Rhodes, and then Will Hobb actually comes out with a steel chair, kind of like Pentagon. I see kind of like a pattern here that they're doing with like with the backstage, like they did it twice, and then this year with the steel chair they did it twice again. I don't think that they needed to do another someone comes out with a steel chair segment. Again, you take away from other people's segments when you have recurring segments that do the exact same thing. But that's just me nitpicking. It's not necessary. Again, it's not necessarily something that's super like important. So yeah, so he scares the FTW guys, Ricky Starks, Brian Cage, and Taz, and then he picks up the FTW championship. He's just kind of like flexing around, and then Cody's actually starting to, get up. And so, like, he's leaning on him, and then Will Hobbs looks at the FTW championship and then just nails him in the face. And that kind of symbolizes that he's joined Team Taz, or FTW. I just like to call him FTW. So, yeah. So, at that point, we know that Ricky Starks, Ryan Cage, and Will Hobbs are now the FTW group. And again, another trios team added to a division. I'm assuming that we're going to get a couple more trios teams just kind of like out of nowhere. So I'm sure we'll get Matt Sydal paired with someone, because they did mention that he had signed. And I don't see really Matt Sydal fitting into any like main storylines right now. So they could pair him up with TH2, and because they kind of like mesh in that style. But I think TH2 is actually gonna enter a rivalry with Top Flight, so yeah, they need a couple more trios teams. I think they did start flaunting like trios records with some stuff with some teams like way before, early in the year. So maybe I'm just not quite remembering like who is part of the trios division. So hopefully we get something like that in the future. And yeah, that was actually the show. I thought it was pretty good. Usually when I watch like other companies, I tend to like find a lot of segments relatively boring, but this show actually flowed pretty well. And yeah, there was a couple matches where I was like, oh, I just don't want to watch this. It's not that good. But the fact that most of the show was relatively entertaining and it flowed well is a good thing. I'm glad we didn't see Hangman Page at all this week, because when we get Hangman Page back, he's going to be a completely different person. And I actually do expect him to be the person to have attacked Moxley. And then I'm assuming his reasoning is that he doesn't want Omega to move on from him, that he feels like that he's lonely, that no one understands him. So yeah, so I'm actually really excited about what's coming up with storylines. Obviously, my favorite storyline is Omega versus Moxley, with the whole the Elite and Hangman. So we'll see where that goes. And yeah, next week. I don't think. Oh, they announced a couple matches next week. I think it was mostly tag team matches. There was a singles match that I can't remember. But yeah, yeah, pretty good show, and yeah, I thought it was I thought it was pretty well done. Yeah, that's the end of my review for AEW. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you tomorrow for Valorant. I don't think I talked about my schedule at all, so follow me on Twitter, at ZephyrVT, and I have my schedule posted on there, and I tweet about some stuff. And yeah, hope you guys have a good one.